Hello and welcome. You might recognize the scenery, you might not, but today I am going to talk about what makes ISFPs awesome. ISFPs are a type that are not talked about very often, and if they are, they're heavily stereotyped. Well, just like any type is heavily stereotyped. But today I'm going to kind of break down why ISFPs are really a cool personality type. So let's start with explaining what the heck is an ISFP. So an ISFP is someone who leads with Introverted Feeling, then has Extraverted Sensing, then Introverted Intuition, and then Extroverted Thinking. So as an ISFP, you personally are going to lead with Introverted Feeling. And Introverted Feeling is a deep connection to morals, and you spend a lot of time thinking about, is this the right thing to do? Is this the right action to take? Are people doing the right thing? What is the right thing to do? It has a lot to do with this kind of like moral compass, and ISFPs can tend to be very quick to determine that information, quick to determine if something is the right thing to do, quick to determine if somebody is doing the right thing. These are things that you're really good at seeing and you think a lot about, and you spend a lot of time thinking about that for yourself, and you spend a lot of time thinking about that for other people around you. After your Introverted Feeling, which actually, let me address this before we move on. Many people think that because you have Introverted Feeling, that means you're highly in tune with your emotions. And this might be a reason why some of you don't type correctly as an ISFP, because you're like, well, I don't really understand my emotions that much. I'm not really always aware of what my emotions are, but I do think a lot about the correct moral thing to do. I am very in tune with what other people are doing and what's right and what's wrong. And that's really what Introverted Feeling is. It's a judgment. It's a discernment that you've made about the situation. So where do you get this information? Where do you gather your ideas of what is right and wrong? How do you recognize it? Where do you see it in the real world? Well, your second function is Extroverted Sensing, which is a very literal, real world application function. It means that you see things as they are. It's very transparent what things are, and you're pretty in tune with seeing things and recognizing them exactly as they are. There becomes this sort of stereotype that with Extroverted Sensing it means that you're not intelligent, but there's no truth behind that. In all honesty, you guys are quite intelligent, at least all the ones that I've met. With Extroverted Sensing, you're very good at hands-on. You're going to learn things relatively quickly, especially if you can do them. And this doesn't mean necessarily art, which a lot of people think that with Introverted Feeling and Extroverted Sensing, you're going to be all about art, because they think that Introverted Feeling is all about understanding your feelings and Extroverted Sensing is about expressing them. But Extroverted Sensing is just an observation. You are literally just observing what's going on around you and getting an acute sense of where everything is and what the reality of the situation is. And you're much more likely to want to care about what's really going on than really much of anything else. But here's where it gets really interesting, because your third function, the third process in your mind, is Introverted Intuition. And this can make you come off as somebody who's very intuitive. You're going to want to understand the underlying meanings of actions. You're going to want to understand the underlying implications of things. Because with your primary function, where you're always trying to think about what's right and what's wrong, your Introverted Intuition is helping you recognize things really quickly and helping you think about, you see that Extroverted Sensing stimulus. You see that person next to you who's doing a certain action, and you can see exactly what they're doing and what their face looks like and what their clothes are and how they're standing, their posture. You see all that. And then Your introverted intuition says, what could this mean? And because it's introverted intuition, you generally have a singular answer to that question. You're pretty good about seeing one most likely outcome, the single most likely outcome for what you are seeing. So this only adds to your ability to judge what is right and wrong according to what you're seeing, because your introverted intuition helps guide you to that answer. And it's kind of like it's not necessarily a conscious decision. It's just you see it and you know, and you want to act upon that because you have introverted feeling and extroverted sensing, where you want to make what you believe a reality. And finally, you have extroverted thinking. And this goes hand in hand with all the other functions, but what your extroverted thinking in the last place means is that you're looking at everyone else's logic systems and you're determining if they're right or wrong. So you hear this logical information. You see these systems before you. For example, in the workplace, you start a new job. You're doing really well. You're picking up everything really quickly. You're feeling really good about what you're doing. And you see a system that's broken. You're going to want to fix it because you see how it's broken. However, you might take a while to come to that conclusion, or you might take a while to decide it's the right time to talk about it, because you want to get other people's opinions. You want to find out why it's that way before you actually go about changing it. However, when you are in a negative state, that can be sometimes all you see is what's wrong and how it needs to be fixed. So there definitely is that potential for you to get into that, I need to fix this system right now because it's terrible. I've seen it in a lot of ISFPs where they get into that mode. But for the most part, you're not really in that mode. You just really care about taking care of other people and making sure that your actions are in line with what you believe is right and wrong, and what other people's actions are, and trying to see if they're in line with what you think is right and wrong. You're not necessarily going to try to change people unless, here's the caveat, unless what they're doing is so messed up that you can't forgive them for it. Then you'll probably say something. I have never known an ISFP who held back when they really thought you were doing something absolutely, totally wrong, or terrible, or bad. So you guys are really awesome. There are some stereotypes that you're these artist types, and I actually haven't known that many ISFPs who are super into art and expression on the physical plane. That's just a stereotype. With actual ISFPs, you're just living life like the rest of us, and you're going after what you're good at, and you're gonna do what you're good at. And for some ISFPs, that might be art. For other ISFPs, that might be being a chef in a restaurant. For other ISFPs, that might be learning to play guitar. For other ISFPs, that could be being a teacher. There's lots of things that you can do as an ISFP, and it doesn't necessarily have to be art. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you feel proud to be an ISFP, because I really do believe you should. If you are an ISFP, go ahead and comment down below if I said anything that doesn't match with you. Tell me if you've mistyped as another type. I've known a lot of ISFPs who mistype as INFPs because of that intuition. So yeah, go ahead and share your thoughts, and if you know someone who's an ISFP, let me know if this matches with what you know about your ISFP friend or partner, or however they are in relation to you, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!